Hey everybody.
Hello.
How's it going? We are really excited for this week and for the upcoming weeks.
Yes.
We wanted to talk about something that's going on right now in today's culture, and also has very much so impacted the church as well.
Right.
Some of you have heard the term fake news or just alternative facts, where a lot of times that is presented in a way where people are presenting information to you, and is usually either not accurate, out of context, which therefore still means not accurate.
Holds no weight.
Yeah, it holds no weight. And so this is why sometimes you see people on social media say, like, what's your source? Or let me go ahead and fact check that thing.
You see how excited John is? He loves stuff like this.
I really love stuff like this. And because I just feel like so often, whether we're talking about religious things or just political things or whatever, oftentimes we're not getting the facts straight.
Right.
And so today, and also this week in general, and next week, we're just going to be focusing
for the
on...
next couple of weeks.
Well, yeah, for the next couple of weeks. We're going to be focusing on just fact-checking everything as best as we can, and trying to demolish and abolish this whole entire fake news.
Yeah, and so, we asked the question to everyone.
Yes.
What are the things that you would like to talk about that, questions that you have that you didn't get answered in church, or you were afraid to ask in church. And so I kind of was thinking we can start there, but I think we need to take a step back and first teach you guys how to really read the Bible in context and get an understanding, so that not only are we teaching you, but in a way you're learning yourself. And so when you are off on your own, you can then take a text and say, let's investigate this and see what the true meaning behind it is.
Yeah.
And so if we give you the tools first, then it's like a team effort instead of just us.
Right. We don't want... I read something in a book the other day about culturally relevant teaching.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, I'm a teacher. And one of the biggest important things about that was to make sure that your students are producers and creators of the learning experience, not the consumers of the learning experience. And so what I mean by that is, we want you guys to be able to really engage with the material, which is in this case the Bible now, and be able to also hold us accountable. Right. Hold, if one day you walk away from our quote unquote services and you go to another church, or and you hear something that's not quite accurate, you can hold them accountable.
Yeah, because sometimes I hear people quoting scripture. I'm like, that is not in context.
Yeah. And it don't just be regular people, it'll be pastors.
Yeah, be pastors.
It's
bad. You'll be surprised.
Yeah, so we just really want to be able to have you guys learn how to read the Bible, learn how to study, be students of the Word yourselves, so that way you can hold us accountable, but also so that way you can teach other people eventually as well.
Right. Exactly.
So for starters, I wanted to introduce Dana one more time to everybody. I have a degree in TYM, which is Teacher Self-Ministry, but Dana actually has a degree.
That's an important ministry though, because Teacher Self-Ministry knows the same things that I learned in school. So,
but I
you learn from me too, but I'm just saying.
Right. I want to be able to just let everybody know that she has done the academic work to hold her. And so introduce yourself a little bit about what you did, how you got to this point of your degrees and stuff like that.
Okay, so I grew up in a teaching church, right? And so my pastor was very big on education. And so I was a minister and coming up in the church, and all of his ministers, he asks them to go to seminary to learn, right? To learn, to grow, to have the degree. And so I went to seminary.
It wasn't a laugh back then.
Oh my gosh, y'all don't understand the depression. But anyway, I went to seminary. It's so funny because when I went to seminary, I thought, my relationship with God is it's solid. Nothing can shake me, nothing can break me. Let me tell you, I realized that my relationship with God was based on the things that I was taught. My relationship with God was not based on anything personal, or I want to say authentic to me. It was literally based on me following directions from everyone else who was guiding that walk in my life. And so it wasn't personal. And seminary broke me down, guys.
It really did.
And I literally had to start over and build up this new foundation in my walk with God, in my relationship with God, and I'm still learning. Like there are some times where I'd be like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, blah, 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 but it's just because my mind is so fixated on a relationship that was based on another person's teachings and not my own. And so
oftentimes I feel like people are being taught how to serve and love God based on another person's experience, and not their own.
And so I was blessed enough to have a pastor who pushed me to go to school. Not everybody has that, right? And then I also want to push us further and say, like, just because I'm a minister doesn't mean that school is just for me. I think everyone should learn, whether you're a minister, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a person in a congregation. You know, if this is something that you're invested in, you should definitely go to school and learn. And so my whole experience taught me that understanding the word truly and fully is like key to any solid relationship with God. And discovering that for yourself.
And so we acknowledge that, you know, not everybody might have the ability or the opportunity or resources to go to school. And so that's why we're here today, to kind of like give you guys the tools that Dana has learned and that I've learned over the years, but mostly that Dana has learned. So that way, you know, we can all be equipped at the same page, at the same level.
And it was a blessing to me. Like in hindsight, like at the time, I thought my world had was shattered. But in hindsight, like I just have this newfound understanding of the word. I have this newfound understanding of who God is in my life. I have this newfound beauty. Like it's just beauty. I just like if I could describe it, it's just like beautiful. And so I want everyone else to be able to develop your own like foundation with God based on the truth.
Okay. And so take us through just like general synopsis. What are things we're going to be covering this week and next week? All right. So
this week and next week, and I'm going to elaborate on it next week, but in seminary, one thing we learned was how to exegete the text, right? And so if I'm going to break it down simply, I would just say fully understanding the Bible in its context, right?
Versus what? What's the opposite of that?
Eisegete the text. Okay. That's when you basically take the text and make it fit with your agenda or what you want it to fit. And a lot of preachers do that.
Right.
And so we're going to learn how to exegete the text. So in exegesis, there are 3 steps: explore, test, commit. And so I'm going to walk us kind of through that process. We're going to take a passage from the Bible and we're going to figure out what it truly means, right? And how we can then take that text, make it fit to our time, and, you know, preach to people or preach to yourself. So yeah.
And so you guys, we want to leave you with this understanding that as we go through these next few weeks, you guys will be able to learn like scholars in school and be able to test and challenge others and test and challenge yourself. And then more importantly, you'll be able to grow and have that relationship with God that we want you to have. That's personal to you. And so, yeah, that's really
John,
good.
Before we go, I do want to say this.
Go ahead.
John found a really good scripture.
Oh, yes, I did.
And it is study to show thyself approved.
Yes.
And basically, like, if you look in the Bible, the overarching theme before you even read the text says, like, this is for false teachers, like, to, you know, to be prepared for false teachers.
Right.
And so it's kind of like hand in hand with what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
So study to show thyself approved.
That's right.
Thank you guys for joining us.
And remember, keep living in your freedom every day. Peace out, y'all.